There was a weapon in World War II that didn't even fire bullets. Another one had a sound so terrifying that soldiers still heard it in their nightmares years later. And the final one? It could have ended the entire war, but one decision changed history forever. These are not just weapons. These are the 5 deadliest weapons of World War II. And today on US Tactical Brief, we are counting them down. But here's the twist. Number 1 is not what you think. Before we reveal it, only 1% of viewers make it that far. So subscribe right now, because what you're about to see changes everything. M1 Garand firing. U.S. soldiers advancing through Europe. This rifle won World War II. Not alone. But without it, the Allies would have lost. Before 1941, every major army used bolt-action rifles. One shot, reload. One shot, reload. In a firefight, that delay cost lives. The M1 Garand changed everything. It was semi-automatic, meaning every trigger pull fired a new round. 8 rounds, no reloading. U.S. soldiers could lay down 3 times the fire of a German soldier. General George Patton called it, and these are his exact words. The greatest battle implement ever devised. But here's what made it truly deadly. The ping. When the last round fired, the empty clip ejected with a loud metallic ping. German soldiers learned to wait for that sound. They knew the American had to reload. Rush now. U.S. soldiers trained around it. Some even threw empty clips to fake the sound. 8 rounds, faster than anything the enemy had. This was the M1 Garand, the rifle that rewrote battlefield tactics. But compared to what's coming, this was just the beginning. Weapon number 4. Some weapons kill soldiers. This one destroyed their will to fight. The M2 flamethrower didn't just wound. It projected a stream of burning liquid up to 40 meters. It set bunkers on fire. It forced soldiers out of fortified positions they would never abandon any other way. In the Pacific, Japanese soldiers built underground tunnels, interconnected, deep, nearly impossible to clear. Artillery couldn't reach them. Grenades weren't enough. The flamethrower was the only answer. At Iwo Jima, U.S. Marines used flamethrowers to clear over 1,500 fortified bunkers, one by one. But the psychological effect was just as powerful as the physical one. The sound, the heat, the sight of fire moving toward you. It broke men who had survived artillery. It made hardened soldiers surrender when nothing else could. One weapon, more fear than any other on the battlefield. But number 3 wasn't a weapon at all. Weapon number 3. Imagine a sniper who never missed. In the winter of 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland. They expected an easy victory. They had over 450,000 soldiers. Finland had 300,000. What the Soviets didn't expect was one man. Simo Haiha was a Finnish farmer. Quiet, small, unremarkable. But in the snow, he became something else entirely. In under 100 days, he took down over 500 Soviet soldiers. That's 5 confirmed kills every single day. He didn't use a telescopic scope. He used iron sights. Why? Because a scope reflects light. Light gives away your position. Haiha thought of everything that he packed snow in his mouth to stop his breath from creating steam. He buried himself in snowdrifts for hours, motionless, waiting. The Soviets called him Deadliest WW2 the White Death. They sent entire squads to eliminate him. They called in artillery strikes on his last known position. None of it worked. On March 6, 1940, a Soviet soldier finally hit him. Explosive bullet, directly to the jaw. He survived, woke up from a coma on the day the war ended. When a reporter asked him how he became such a great shot, he said, practice, 500 lives, one man, one rifle, pattern interrupt, hard cut to black, sound effect, distant mechanical roar. We're halfway through the deadliest weapons of World War II. Number 2 fired 1,200 rounds per minute. Number 1 almost won the war for the wrong side. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. You don't want to miss the top 2. Let's keep going. Weapon number 2, the MG42. You won't believe what this gun could do. The MG42, standard German machine gun. It fired 1,200 rounds per minute. To put that in context, the American M1919 Browning fired 400 rounds per minute. The British Bren fired 500. The MG42 fired 3 times faster than anything the Allies had. At that speed, individual shots were impossible to hear. Allied soldiers described it as a sound like tearing fabric, like a buzzsaw cutting through wood. That sound became one of the most feared in the entire war. Veterans who survived it said years later, decades later, they still couldn't hear that sound without their hands shaking. The MG42 didn't just kill, it created kill zones. Open ground became impossible to cross. Entire advances stopped. Entire battles were decided by where a single MG42 was positioned. The Allies studied it. They captured it. They tried to copy it. After the war, West Germany adopted a modified version, the MG3. Some variants are still in service today. A weapon designed in 1942, still feared more than 80 years later. But even the buzzsaw wasn't number 1, because number 1 didn't fire a single bullet. Weapon number 1, the Me-262, the first jet fighter. In 1944, Allied pilots ruled the sky. The P 51 Mustang, the Spitfire, the Thunderbolt. Air superiority was the Allied advantage. Then, on July 25, 1944, something impossible appeared. A German aircraft moving at 870 kilometers per hour, faster than any Allied fighter by over 200 kilometers per hour. It couldn't be caught. It couldn't be outmaneuvered. Propeller engines had no answer for it. This was the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter. It carried four 30mm cannons. One burst could tear apart a heavy bomber. Allied pilots feared it completely. So why didn't it win the war for Germany? 3 reasons. First, Hitler. He ordered it converted into a bomber, not a fighter. His generals argued. He refused to listen. Months were lost. Second, fuel. Germany was running out. The Me-262 burned through it faster than anything else in their arsenal. Third, pilots. Training a jet pilot in 1944 took time Germany didn't have. Only 1,400 Me-262s were ever built. Only 300 ever flew in combat. In that time, they shot down over 500 Allied aircraft. If Germany had deployed them 1 year earlier, with enough fuel and enough pilots, the air war might have ended differently. The Me-262 didn't lose because it was outmatched. It lost because the war was already lost around it. The most advanced weapon in the skies of World War II, defeated not by a better aircraft, but by time. 5 weapons, 5 stories. The M1 Garand, that gave U.S. soldiers the edge in every firefight. The flamethrower, that broke men who had survived everything else. Simo Haiha, the White Death, 500 kills, no scope in the snow. The MG-42 buzzsaw, the sound that stopped entire armies in their tracks. And the Me-262, the jet that arrived too late to change history. World War II was not just a war of nations. It was a war of weapons. And these 5 changed it forever. Which weapon surprised you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you want more military history, subscribe to US Tactical Brief. The next video drops soon.